What's up guys, what's going on? It's your boy Corey here once again. This video is the do's and don'ts of influencers. Recently our brands have really been relying on influencers a lot more, so we kind of want to share our experience about that and kind of what to do and what not to do when choosing influencers for your Guys, what is going on? If you are new to this channel,
it's the mind-boggling, eye-popping, all new.
Make sure that you hit that subscribe button real quick. We do a lot of e-commerce content and kind of share our brand and how we are building our D2C e-commerce brand currently, and kind of just give out gold nuggets as much as we can about dropshipping, e-commerce, Facebook ads, Google ads, and everything in between. So make sure you're in the loop for that. As mentioned, today I literally just want to hop on my phone and show you real life examples of the do's and don'ts of influencers and how a lot of influencers make their accounts appear as very attractive to people like us who want them to promote our products, when really their accounts are absolute garbage. And you'll learn it yourself as you go on, but we're just trying to save you that little extra amount of money that you lose. And again, it's going to vary per your niche as well. So if say you're selling technology gadgets for your e-commerce store, then it's going to be a little bit easier to find quality influencers since it's like a smaller market kind of compared to like beauty or fashion or whatever. I'll kind of choose a couple, and you can also just choose pages as well. So you can kind of look at like a page's engagement ranking and see if they're good, and I'll drop a tool for that right here. But we're going to start off with like some basic ones for most people that are probably in like beauty, fashion, some kind of clothing, and then you can kind of just take the same pointers and apply it to yourself. Here we go. All right, so now I'm literally in my own phone here, and I kind of just want to go through an example or two of what kind of influencers you should or should not be looking for. And so the basic way to find influencers first is by using hashtags. So let's just say, for example, you go to the hashtag page on Instagram, assuming you want an Instagram influencer, and you search the search word, let's just say fashion. Let's just see what pops up. This is live. This is recording live. I have no prior experience to seeing what's going to pop up here. And right away we get some influencers. We see this girl right here. Whoops. See her account. See, 4,000 followers. Her name's Anna. You know, if you sell, it's a great example actually. If you sell, for example, you're in the women's fashion niche and you're looking for influencers and you're on a tighter budget, someone like you might actually hit them up and say, hey, what are your rates? Like literally, like you don't have to say a pretty message. That's a huge thing too. Like you don't have to literally type a whole paragraph saying who you are, your brand mission, who you're looking for, how payment work, etc. Just hit them up saying, hey, like what are your rates? Like do you do paid collaborations? Do you do gifted collaborations? Which is just like send them a free product and that's it. That's all you have to do to start. And if they're actually serious, they'll get back to you rather through DM or email. Usually it's email. So like one huge red flag right off the bat is that if, obviously this girl is a little bit of a smaller following, so it's okay. She only has 4,000 followers, but like if an influencer over, I'd say 50K followers is constantly chatting with you through DM and not really encouraging email, then that's kind of a red flag. We find that most professional influencers, even if they answer that first DM, they always redirect over through to email because that's just how business usually works. DM is, usually if you have a huge page and a huge following, your DMs are overflowed. So what's the point of doing business there? But if we keep going through like just the fashion hashtag, for example, and we look at more creators and kind of just like see what's trending, let's see if we can get anything. Here's another girl I just found. Her name's Estella, 14,000 followers, looks great, and the engagement is actually not bad. So for example, she has 14K followers and her average posts are getting somewhere between 80 to I guess 100 comments. It depends if she replies to her comments. So some influencers will also reply to every single comment they get to make their comment like engagement rank look higher, but in reality it's not. Let's have a look here and let's see what's going on. So yeah, it looks like this influencer is pretty much replying to all of them, and also a lot of these comments look super botted if you can't really tell, and if you can't tell that, then wow. But literally, like if you see every single person commenting the same kind of things, like these like red hearts, these heart eyes, or just saying like one word like wow, amazing, beautiful, that's a huge red flag. Like usually like even if it's an influencer interacting with another influencer, they'll leave something a bit more engaging than just like an emoji or like a one word. Like usually they'll say something about the actual post. I can't really read German, but they would literally just say like, like the cute necklace like my grandma has, the same one. Like, it would be engaging. It wouldn't be all this BS like one word stuff. So a lot of influencers, right when they post, they'll post like their actual post in the engagement group, and they'll go like 10 photos, and then whoever's 10 photos they like those 10 people have to like her photos. It kind of goes down the whole flow, and it's all fake engagement just to make us as business owners look at them as more attractive business-wise than they actually are. Another hashtag, I'm going to stick with like women's beauty here, for example, just like the beauty niche. Let's see what's going on in here. This is also like a humongous e-commerce niche. Like beauty, fashion are huge. Like there's no reason why you can't be in those. But if we just keep looking, we got some makeup stuff, feeling kind of cute. See, obviously she's like, this account is showing up high for no reason though. I guess her post is just trending. Let's see what else we can find.
2,000 years later.
So here we have a page. This girl, Lou, has 122,000 Instagram followers. If we're looking at her posts, again, 136 comments, 157 comments, 209 comments, and if we can just look at like their engagement rate, that's always the first thing we do, is look at their comments. Usually we find them through the hashtags, and again, it's very botted, all the same emojis, OMG, wow. She's replying to all of them. So if we divide this number by 2, she actually only got like 104 comments. It's not actually 209, but she's making it look that way. So always keep your eye open for that. So once you actually get to the point where you find an influencer who meets the criteria, they have good engagement rate, which is, it's going to depend on their audience size. Usually like a good engagement rate, as I would probably say somewhere between like maybe like 6 to 15%. It kind of varies. You kind of like do your own research, because it also depends on that niche. Sometimes people are just naturally like just born to just watch and not engage, and that's totally fine. And the best way to figure out exactly how to find like what their engagement's like is by, once you're actually talking to them, hopefully through email, you can just ask them for an Instagram screenshot of their page insights, and they shouldn't be hesitant to show you this stuff. Sometimes we find that small influencers, they are hesitant to show us that kind of stuff for some reason, and sometimes you find out that what you are looking for is absolutely nothing involved with them. So for example, back to that first example with the fashion, the women's fashion, they could send you a screenshot of their page insights, and you can find out that 70% of their audiences are actually male and not female, and that's obviously a huge turnoff for a brand who sells women's fashion. And just by taking that one simple step, you can eliminate a ton of influencers who otherwise you would have paid and probably had a bad promotion with, thanks to like all their male audience liking your photos, which is not what you want, obviously. Another huge point that I forgot to reach out on is that usually these influencers will not come to you. We've seen it where when our brand first started and we had our page growing, obviously it was very slow and not many people reached out to us asking for like collaborations and whatnot. But as bigger influencers and better influencers who matched our criteria, which were just like high engagement rank, legitimate comments, very professional, once we started seeing more of those influencers share our stuff, the smaller ones who we were first looking for started actually coming to us. So the ones like I showed you before with like 3K followers would DM us right away saying, hey, I want to do a promo, I love your stuff, blah, blah, blah. And in reality, we know that they actually aren't good. And if they're reaching out to you, like most of the time, it's not a good sign. Like usually, like if someone's good, you should be going after them. If they come to you, it's kind of just like, okay, like wow, like it's too good to be true. So when your brand's page starts growing, just be careful about which influencers reach out to you and like how you choose to like hire them or not. Okay, so now you get the idea. You get the idea that your brand does need influencers. Obviously, they can help. They can bring you in a lot of profit. It can help so much with building pixel data up front if you do it correctly. Now you've ran a couple and you kind of get the ins and outs of it, but you want to figure out how can you do this like most effectively, so that now and then when you do find ones that like don't do as well, how can you like not take so much damage from that? Because sometimes the influencer will meet all of your criteria, but it just happens to be like the day they posted it didn't work, or like the product you offer just does not meet their audience. Like obviously these influencers have to pay their bills too, so sometimes they will accept promotions even if like it's not like the best for their audience, because they have to. Some are actually honest and will actually like not accept your product if they don't like it. Some will, so obviously that varies. But once you get past all that, like all that smoke, and you figure out what's going on, what's the most efficient way to go through this? And depending on what you sell and what you want to send to them and how much it's going to cost you, you can really heavily push the the idea of gifted promotions. And so gifted promotions up front are probably the best way to start, where you tell them, hey, we'll send you a free product in return for X. So in an Instagram story post with a swipe up or whatever it may be. And usually they will accept that, but if they're really, really good and you know they're really good, they're gonna ask for money. You can send them a free product or 2 free products along with like a PayPal payment. Usually that's all it really takes. And that payment should usually range somewhere between like 100 to 500 depending on the size of the account. YouTubers, it gets more expensive, but for just an Instagram post, it shouldn't really be that expensive. So usually like a free product plus like $100 is what you can expect for like a good one. But now and then we've actually had experiences where like we just sent them a gifted product or 2 and it actually did very well. And now we're doing more promotions with them, obviously, where it includes a paid like payment. But we didn't know that at first. Another huge eye-opener that we came across was that don't let these numbers fool you. Sometimes an influencer who has 1 million followers will look a lot more attractive, and like obviously like through the business lens, it looks a lot more attractive and it makes sense to do it, versus someone who has 30k followers. But at the end of the day, if you run both, you'd be surprised with the results. Some people have, and that's why it's super important to get those Instagram insight screenshots to see who exactly is following them. Sometimes people will even, like influencers obviously buy followers and have millions of followers, but they're talking to you through a DM. It doesn't make sense, right? Versus someone who has 30k followers who posts your stuff, who might actually have their own TV show, and you end up going viral through that sense, and your 1 million one gets you almost no results. Like that stuff actually happens. So be careful. Don't automatically assume that the numbers are real and correct and true. Never just base it on that. Base it on their audience and actually ask yourself, can I get this person's audience to buy my stuff? If not, just scratch it, move on. Find the next one. There's millions out there. I'm not going to complicate this. This is like the first kind of time we've talked about influencers in a while, and we're still learning every single day as we go. We're also going to cover YouTube influencers in a different video, but for Instagram, keep it simple. Find them through hashtag. One of the best things you can do is that once you find someone that really suits your criteria, or once you actually ran like an influencer ad with somebody, you can go back to that person's profile, hit this recommendation here, and you're going to see people. Usually it won't be like all these famous people you're seeing here, but it will actually be like people really related to this person, and you can hit up them. So if we do a different example here, for example, let's just see what we can get. Makeup by Yasmina, again, smaller page, but again, you can see like related pages to her, and then hit them up and see what's going on. And this actually really slapped on strategy, and we found some great influencers do that, like this one right here, for example. And the list kind of just keeps going on and on. That's kind of like the baseline of how you should do it. So now you've reached the end of the video, and by now you should probably have a better understanding than you did before this video started of how to find influencers, how to find good ones that actually will get you like conversions, and kind of what to avoid. So watch out for those spammy comments, watch out for those low engagement rates, and if things seem fishy and too good to be true, they probably are, so just move on. Influencers can be amazing for you, like I said earlier. It's like almost no matter what brand you're in, word of mouth is so powerful, and if you can get someone, like the audience that these like influencers have created, it's almost like it's insane. Like the audience views that influencer who you're paying as little expert. They think that person's an expert. So when they're talking about a product, they're gonna buy it. If she believes in it, they believe in it too. They're gonna buy it. They're gonna support her. They're gonna buy if their audience is real. If it's all bought and it's just a bunch of fake love, it's not gonna go well. Don't burn your cash through that. And if promotions are successful the first time around, always make sure to run them again. Like you shouldn't want it to be a super transactional relationship where it's just like, okay, we paid you, okay, give us X, okay, thank you. Like it should be very, very genuine, authentic, and less transactional, almost as if it's like as if you guys are actually real friends and business partners, because you actually are essentially. If you're gonna be doing multiple promotions with her, like she has to feel involved, she has to feel important, or else she's not gonna do a good job and your promotion won't do well. If you want to do a good job and actually care and be excited about receiving your products, he/she, you have to make them feel important. And obviously transactional relationships is like the worst thing to do for that. And I speak very fast. And that literally wraps it up, guys. So if you're still watching, you're still here, and you learned a thing or two, double tap the subscribe button. We're gonna do a lot more content every single Tuesday and Friday about this topic: YouTube influencers, e-commerce, general wealth creation, and we'll see you in the next video. Peace.